Hey, what's up, North County? I'm your host, Randy Doty, and today we are talking with Danny Torres with Deadwood Revival Designs. Danny, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank
Yeah,
you for having me.
you betcha. And we're talking about your Revival Fest coming up, which we'll get back
We'll get
into
back to
that a
that.
little
We'll
bit
circle in.
towards the end. But so, Danny, tell me a little bit about yourself. Are born and raised here?
No,
Grew
no,
up here?
no. I'm
Where'd
a
you grow up
California
at?
transplant. Actually, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and
Okay.
we moved. My family moved to the United States in 2002 to Miami. Graduated high school there and did the military. Went to Iraq.
Oh,
Did a
man,
little
thank
bit
you
of
for the
this.
service, man.
Oh, no problem.
Appreciate
It's my
it.
pleasure to serve this country. This
Wow.
country's given me everything, so I'm happy to give any way back.
That's awesome.
So did a little bit of that, and then I was on the path to being a firefighter. That's what I wanted to do, and that's actually what I did. And I got educated in Texas to become a wall and structure firefighter, and then it's really competitive job market in the fire service. I applied 1 year to Louisville Fire Department in Louisville, Kentucky, and there were 17,000 applications for 6 positions.
Wow. What makes that what made that county so like demanding?
It's so competitive. Like people want to be firefighters, and not all those applicants are qualified, but it's a heavily competitive market. And while I was in Fire Academy in Fort Worth, Texas, I talked to one of the fire captains that was their instructor, said, if I could do my career again, he was towards the end of his career, what I would do is start off as a wall-in firefighter. It's a really cool job, but he said it's a young man's game. And I started thinking about that. And after a year of working in ambulance service, volunteering, and doing all those kind of things at several departments and testing, trying to get a job, I realized, like, oh, that's right. He said while in firefighting. So I had veterans preference points, which helped me go through the federal government system to get a Forest Service job. And so sight unseen, I never hiked a mountain in my life like to that level. And I took a job and I became a wildland firefighter. Did 1 season in Colorado and then to California. So that's how I get to California in 2010, sight unseen, take a job over the phone interview. And I get stationed at the Los Padres National Forest over at the Big Sur area there,
Oh,
Monterey
wow.
Ranger District, that whole swath of 380,000 acres. And I worked there at 2 different stations. One was at the top of the mountain there, Nacimiento, Ferguson Road at the very top. That
God,
station.
that's a wild road, man.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And it ends at Liggett,
Yeah.
Oceanside to Liggett.
Yep.
Cool drive, though.
You find some weird people on that road.
Very weird people.
Yeah. I mean, literally, it sounds like, deliverance.
It really is. It always scared me at the station because when you get, so if you've been through this road, you go, it winds very heavily. So it's a steep incline from the ocean all the way to the top. And then it crests and it drops, and there's a fire station there with some barracks, but there is nothing else around. No cell service, no nothing. So it's like a light where bugs are attracted to it. So in the middle of the night, I always thought, like, what kind of people will show up? People do show up because it's the only thing up there. And they're like,
Right.
hey, can I use the bath? They're lost. Anyways, interesting. So I was there at the Forest Service, and I did that for 6-7 years, somewhere in there. And I was in Big Sur on a fire in 2012 that burnt down a ton of houses. Like, it was literally started Christmas Eve, and then it went through Christmas Day. And we're there doing some mop up, and like the fires just kind of go for days and days. And I was talking to one of the fire captains. He was about to retire, Charlie, from the Big Sur station. And he said, what are you going to do, Charlie, when you retire? He said, I'm moving to Australia. His wife was from there. And I'm going to cut trees and mill lumber. I'm like, this is crazy. What are you talking about? So at the Big Sur station, they were using what's called an Alaskan chainsaw mill. It's just an attachment. You put it on a chainsaw, and it allows you to cut flat boards. Mm-hmm. And they were doing like picnic tables and benches and a very raw and organic look. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I was a chainsaw guy. I was a Forest Service guy. Well, I'm going to buy one of these things. And so with my business partner, Mitch, we bought one. We split it. It was $400. I already had a chainsaw. Split that little Alaskan chainsaw mill, and during the winter and off season, we'd cut a little bit. But then I had this wood. I didn't really have any talent or anything to do with it. I met a guy, and it's kind of like I met a person that's like, you can do this. He introduced me to this person, and now it's been a decade. I quit my firefighting jobs back in 2017, and I went full time to Deadwood, which a lot of people cautioned me against, because you gotta really, at that point I was working for the Department of Defense, 400 Liggett, and just people say, you have a really good job,
Right.
you get paid good, you have good benefits, you're on 3, off 4.
So you were at the fire department there?
At that point I moved to Liggett for
Okay.
Department of Defense, still federal.
Okay.
So got a job like the last 2 years.
Gotcha.
I got a job at Liggett. I think I started in the Forest Service in 2009 and ended at Liggett in 2017. But anyways, my mom, people were just cautioning me, you should probably keep your fire job and then do the woodworking on the side. And I did that for a little bit, but I was unhappy. I was already unhappy doing what I was doing. I did not have that spark and passion. And I always remember telling people, like, you meet somebody that you may work with or have a lot of contact with, and let's say they're just not happy about what they do. And then they take that attitude and that to work, right? And they talk about it and they're just unhappy there. And it's like, I've always been like, when you're unhappy somewhere, just leave, go do somewhere else. I found myself in that position where I'm unhappy doing what I'm doing now, because I was more of a Forest Service guy. And Liggett was a little bit more quiet and just a different thing. Great department with great people, just wasn't my jam.
Yeah.
So I'm here unhappy. I'm doing the woodworking thing on the side. I'm making great money. It was a tough decision.
So you're working 18 hours, 20 hours a day.
Well, at that point, it's you do a 72-hour shift.
Yeah.
At Liggett. And yes, if we pop a fire, you could go long.
Right.
Definitely. I've done that in the Forest Service, 16, 18-hour shifts, like very common. But I'm working 3 days on and coming home for 4 days. So I do have the time. I can do it. But I was just unhappy. And I realized that there's, if you want to take over the island, you burn the boats. You get there, you burn the boats. So you give yourself no other choice. While I'm receiving this cush pay every single month, I don't have to make Deadwood Revival Design work, because it doesn't have to, because my life just keeps going as is.
Right.
So yeah, quit that, and then that started the 10-year journey. 10 years here in June 24th.
So it's interesting, we'll skip around a little bit, but, your location, it was literally the first time I heard of it was here when we got introduced by Steven.
I know.
And so, but you said 10 years.
10 years. So how crazy is that? I was thinking about it. Any business that's under $1 million in revenue, their most challenging, their biggest challenge is just not being known. You think you're known. We have 120,000 impressions on social media every month. We've been doing it for 10 years. We've done business with some of the biggest Dow architecture firms, different wineries. So we've done good work, big California-wide construction companies, but nobody knows.
So Danny, give me an example of like what you made for like these wineries.
Okay, let's say Hope on Park.
Okay.
So Austin Hope Family Wines, they have their production facility and tasting room, and then they have a place on downtown called Hope on Park.
Right.
And so there we did a custom tasting bar. So it's actually a street side view. So you open up a big roll up, and as you walk down in that park in Paso on Park Street, you can see the bar. So the serving bar we did, and then the credenza that sits behind, which has all the wine storage and everything. And the Hopes, they're very unique and artistic, and they have a very specific vision and feel for their brand. So what they do is come in and say, hey, we're crafting this place, and we talk through like the feel of the place. What's the vision? What do they like? What speaks to them? Then we start looking at local woods. I say, hey, here's what we have. Here's what I believe would perform here. And really then it becomes like a give and take of practicality, like what's gonna work, and also like your heart, like what feels right. Because nobody needs a custom piece of furniture like what we make. You just want one. So at that point, we wanna make sure that what you get is something that really speaks to you. So for them, we did that, and they just had some really specifics, like, hey, when our serving staff is here, we notice that we don't want this part to be visible. Can you make something to cover this? Or our wine fridges, we want them to be specifically, we want 4 different drawers at this sizes. Can you make those? And so the cool thing about...
But this is all wood.
This is all wood.
All wood.
Sometimes we do steel too. We actually do all steel fabrication in our home, at our shop as well. Because a lot of times we blend like a wood top with a steel base. But in this case, it was all wood, all cabinetry, and then the beautiful wood tops in front. If you haven't had a chance, Hope on Park is really beautiful. But essentially that and a private tasting room. And then tasting room table. And then they had us do a conference table for their big location where their team meets, an 18-footer. And so that's the kind of stuff, like, we just offer really custom solutions with local wood that has a story. Like, we all love a good story. And I think in the current time, one of the challenges is with all of the distractions we have, digital, the lack of attention span, we just feel a little bit empty and disconnected. I know that I do sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
And
it's a curse, you know?
right.
What did Einstein say? technology is going to be the something of humanity.
Yeah, it's both like one of the best things that's ever happened,
Yeah.
right? Because we have information anywhere. You can see what's happening anywhere here across the world in an instant, but it's also almost like too much information, right? And then I mean, we've all been at a party lately or Christmas dinner and people are on their phone at the table.
Right.
It's like rather than just being present. So anyways, going right back to in this world where oftentimes we can feel disconnected, what we're offering is connection and connection to local heritage, right? So like we have these trees that come out that usually get treated as trash, right? When a city tree comes out or any kind of tree comes out, usually they just get chipped and discarded. And so when we rescue those and when we're talking to a client, be that residential or commercial, we know the story of where this stuff comes from. So at this point, rather than walking your typical furniture experience, you have an idea, you need something, you go to a furniture store, you look at the floor or you're online and you find something and you just pick it. You don't know where it came from, who built it. Well, there's no connection to it, right? It's devoid of that. We're offering people the opportunity to be part of the story. They're part of the build. They come, they get text videos of when the build is happening. So it's a really involved process and people get really excited from the moment that they've honed in on the piece through the process to the moment it's delivered. It's actually something really special, both for them and for our team. So
That's interesting because I mean, with the customization, we live really in a really awesome place of California, right?
oh my gosh.
I mean, between the wineries, the distilleries, I mean, there's just the people that live here,
Totally.
and what you're talking about as far as walking into a showroom and, picking these chairs. Oh, and then you go somewhere else, it's the same thing.
Right.
So this is unique, one ofs, customized furniture.
Heirloom quality. It's the kind of stuff that you want to make sure that gets passed down from generation to generation. Everybody knows of a piece of furniture that got handed down from grandpa or somebody and it's solid wood and it's like this thing will just not go away. It's just built so well that it's never going to go away.
What's
That's what we want.
most unique piece you've made?
There's so many. There's so many in so many arenas, but one of the coolest ones that we did last year is we did a spiral staircase. So
Out of wood.
So this client has a home. So they live in Hawaii, but they have a rental here or a place here in Paso that they vacation in. And they have a beautiful home, right? And so at the top story, this story is going to sound like a fiction, but at the top where you're sitting at the living room, if the home owner says, hey, let's grab a bottle of wine. You want to go into the cellar? There's no indication that there's any cellar anywhere. He pulls a throw rug like this one right here. He hits a button, a glass hatch opens. This is some James Bond stuff. A glass hatch opens. There's a spiral staircase. The actual staircase itself is built out of metal, but the treads are out of wood. And it's a wood and epoxy. So it's 15 treads coming down in a spiral. And what it is two pieces of wood, and they have epoxy in the center like a river. And they wanted it to be wine. So they want to represent wine pouring from the home into the cellar. And so it's that kind of like super high custom where budget is not an issue for them. Not that this is the only kind of people that we work with, but at that point, what's fun about that is like, we can just be as creative as we want. And the cool thing is once he had them installed, he's like, I wish I would have done every step in my house from this. Why didn't we do this? I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Wow, man. And where did these clients come from? Just from word of mouth?
Yeah, it started with, we had a connection. So Cal Poly's got a strong architecture program.
Okay.
The College of Architecture and Environmental Design there is like one of the strongest in the nation. And we had some connections. Two of my original partners went to school there. And the professors all either work in architecture or potentially have their own company. And so we got an opportunity to do a commercial space in our first year that we did out of my garage first. We didn't even have a shop then, but it was the biggest project. And that project really helped show us our own capacity and put us on the map. It was beautiful. They had professional photography done. And so from there, it started with that. And then word of mouth definitely is really strong. But now we've moved into being a lot more strategic about how we find people. But, we work with residential and commercial, designers, architects, builders, and homeowners like DIYers, because it's not just furniture. Log to finished product, any service, whether it's milling, kiln drying, selling lumber by itself, doing shop services for other shops that may not have the tools that we have, or giving you a fully finished product, we do everything there, and we also sell it all individually as a service. Somebody wants a metal base, we'll make a metal base.
Interesting. It's funny. We always talk about, school shop class.
Right.
Nowadays,
Right.
wood class is gone. Away from the high schools. And it's such a, it's an industry that I feel is coming back.
Totally.
There was a big tech push there for
Right.
quite some time, to where I'll use my son's example. Is I have one that just graduated Cal Poly business.
Right.
Doesn't have any desire to do anything, construction wise or hands on. The other son, pipe fitters union, so it's like that blue collar, industry. I think it's starting to grow again amongst the kids that don't want to get into all the computer stuff and the tech stuff. They want to work with their hands, like what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
in a world where we have so much technology and a lot of people's jobs are threatened with technology, I think that people feel very disconnected. We talked about that, but also people are less and less skilled. And maybe that's a general statement that I need to be careful with. They're less skilled at trade, definitely, right? You don't have to build. You can go somewhere. You don't have to slaughter your own chicken or do this or do that. Everything can come made for you, and it can come relatively cheap, because it comes from overseas or somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like you said, we were just talking about that. The craft of any kind, because this is a craft, that what we're doing right here, and what I'm doing is a craft with our team. And so, like, the craft of handcraft stuff has been kind of fading out. And with that, the quality of the things around us has been fading out. I mean, we all know that wood feels good. Why do you think there's wood on these walls here? Why wouldn't they just be drywall? Because there's something about the element of wood. Wood has been mankind's favorite material from the beginning of time all the way through. And so I think that there's kind of a revival of wood coming back into our communities, where people want those natural elements because it makes you feel good. When you walk into a space and it's intentionally designed and it has natural elements like wood, plants, things, it just brings the place to life. And then when you step into it to do whatever work you have to do or live, you also feel good. When you walk into a cluttered, messy space, that's how my mind then kind of internalizes and gets cluttered and messy. So anyways, shops, the craft, like, we're just trying to keep that alive,
So Danny, 10 years ago, you said kind of starting in your garage,
Yeah.
right? So at what point did you kind of move into more of a commercialized location and offering?
It's just crazy how life works. I believe in synchronicity. First of all, I believe in God, and that God puts opportunities in your life when and you just have to be ready for them. And I went to a dinner. We were working out of my garage, and it's a pain in the butt to work out of your garage. Dust is all in your house. Like, it's just not a big space. And I went to a birthday dinner that I didn't want to go to because I had work to do, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to this birthday dinner. And I sat next to a person that I never knew. And that person, I was just talking about what I do. And he's like, oh, hey, I'm a contractor and I have a commercial space here. And I literally just use it for storage. And I only use half of it. The guy that was storing with me left. So if you want, I'll rent you half of the shop for whatever, super cheap, like $450. He'll rent me the half. The whole rent was like $925. I'm like, okay, yeah, so let's come and see it. And it was not suitable to do what we did, but we took it and we made it a little bit better. And then that guy a month later was like, hey, I really don't need this place anymore, so you could keep it for $925. They kept the rent the same, and more importantly, like, we didn't have any commercial rental history, but this guy vouched for us, and then he left us there. And then eventually we took over 4 spaces in that same. There were only 1,000 square foot spaces. And we ended up renting 4 units like that. And then we just worked, got a CAL FIRE grant that was really helpful. And we were able to move between that and all the work and the contracts that we've done. We were able to move to a 8,000 square foot facility in Paso 4 years ago.
Wow.
So we're here in North County now. Love it up here.
So at what point did you completely dismiss the whole forestry, firefighting, Liggett thing? At what point did you go full time with Deadwood?
That was, so 2017, I jumped from fires into, it was 2017. It was about June of 2017. We closed on our house. I needed to close on the house because we needed to show all of our income and
Right.
everything. And the moment the house closed, I was ready. But I didn't just not have a job. Like I went to a tree service first because I was like, oh, I know trees. And then, it's like that was not really something I wanted to do. So then I went construction for a while. Then I did a little bit of serving for a while. And then I went unpaid for like 2 years. Like we're barely making
building your business.
$7,000 a year, 1 year, $14,000. I mean, heck, even right now, I invest most of it into the business because that's the choice that I have to make. It's either do I want to grow it and to what level do I want to grow it, and then do I want the money for me, or do we want to invest it back into our dream so it can grow? I think oftentimes business owners want to take too fast. It's a hard road having a business. Anybody that's done it knows. It's like, I think there's a misconception where I like to work for myself. And
Right.
It's like, you may not know what that actually entails. And it entails working way more for way less money,
Right.
with way more stress, and it's all on you.
Right.
But I love it. I'm built for this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, being a self-made person, I mean, there's also a adrenaline in that as well.
Totally.
It's because everything you do, it's like, I always say that I wish I could say no more than I do, but whenever somebody says something, I go, yeah, absolutely. And it's like, oh, how am I going to do that?
Right.
But that's the fun. That's
Totally.
that's the draw,
Yeah, I listen to a lot of personal development stuff, and one of the many quotes that I can think about, but one is like, the magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. And so like thinking like we all have dreams, we all have things we want to do, and there's always that external force, and sometimes it's internal. It's called resistance, where something is keeping you from seeking your higher self and doing that thing that you got to do today, right? And so the magic life that you're looking for is found in that work that you've been avoiding. And as an entrepreneur, the most successful ones are people that just do not have an off button. You just go. You go, you go, you go. You're willing to figure it out if you don't know it. And you're comfortable with failure, because the only way to success is failing your way to success. Every failure provides feedback. And if you're attuned to that, you start making changes and small changes, and it starts showing you your holes, like where you're not good enough. And, maybe I need to know more about finances or bookkeeping or marketing or this. And if I look at the failures, like, they're here to teach me what I need. So anyways, that entrepreneurial spirit I love, of that resolve of wanting to figure it out. And,
Oh, yeah.
and then you have that joy of like, wow, another one's like, make a goal to become a millionaire. People have a bad connotation with money sometimes. Like, oh, that's greedy, but it's not about the money. It's about the person you have to become wealthy. So wealth is not just money. It's also experience, it's leadership, it's that knowledge that you have. And that's why people that make a bunch of money, they can lose it all and they'll make it all again.
Right.
Because
They
it's
know
a
how to
skill
get
set.
there.
It's
Yeah.
a skill set. And
Yeah.
so it's not about the money. It's not about the business. It's not about the one thing. It's about who you must become. It needs to, internally, it becomes like, I must become this kind of person. And then that means I'm so skilled. I can walk out of Deadwood and go into any business and help them, because business is business. There's
Right.
little small differences in the services and products and the client avatar that we're looking for, but business is business.
Danny, tell me about your partners. How did your partners come to be?
So we've had a couple of partners, but they've rotated out with time. Like, this just wasn't the right fit at the right time, but so grateful for everybody in the journey that has helped us, because it's taken everybody's effort. But my business partner, his name's Mitch McCormick. He's a local boy here from San Luis Obispo. His grandfather, he was always interested in woodworking, took wood shop. His grandfather also kind of inspired that love for the craft in him. And he was also in the Forest Service. I met him in the Forest Service, and we both left. And when I offered him, when my two other business partners kind of were rotating and we knew we needed more, because really there is strength in partnerships, right? Nobody can do anything alone. You have to find whether it's internal partners or external. And Mitch is just the kind of guy that really, number one, he makes it happen. He can build anything. He can solve anything. He can fix anything.
So is he the creative of your guys' business?
He is. He's the creative in the wood space. So the way the division of labor is, like, I kind of quarterback the brand, and he helps a lot with that too, but I quarterback the brand. I'm the forward facing person. I'm the kind of like not a visionary, but the visionary. And I also cut all the wood, and I'm in charge of the drying, or have that team now. Now we have a team. They're actually cutting wood right now. And then he manages the operation, the shop, the operations, the projects, all of that kind of stuff, meets with clients and talks through design, whether it's something that we can do or not, or change. He does all of that. And then that final quality, it's all on him. We all jump in there, but he's the one who shoulders that.
So we're talking Deadwood Revival Designs, which are, where are you guys located at?
Paso Robles, over by Lowe's, off
Okay.
Wisteria Lane, just right behind that Ram dealership there.
And so you serve all the social medias, so people can go and check out your work there and all that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. So Deadwood Revival Design, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, we're everywhere. And then the website, www.deadwoodrevivaldesign, without an S, design.com. And you'll find us in every platform.
Danny, I almost feel like we have another show to do based on business and growth, because we could sit there and talk about this
All day.
All day long.
All day.
Because it's really it's a space that it's always evolving, now with AI. Now, does AI play any role in
Totally.
your business?
Totally. So the craft itself and building the thing, AI can't help you, but so much of business is more than that. We were just talking about that before the show started. You get into a business, let's say you're passionate about cooking, and you get into the business, and you open a restaurant. Then you find out that you don't even cook anymore. You have to manage all these other things. So AI will help with all the marketing assets, concepts. Like, you can even have it do renderings now. If I have an idea, I give it a couple pictures, describe it, and I can actually render it without having to hire somebody to help me render. So it could save me time like that. And a lot of it is just kind of coming up with playbooks. Right? AI can give you a lot of information, but really, can it give you a playbook that then you execute on? And so right now, that Revival Fest that we're doing on next Thursday, January 15th, 4 to 8 at our shop. And if you're interested in Revival Fest, you can find out more information in our social media. The link is in our bio, both in our Facebook and in our Instagram. So it's an all immersive open house event that we're having. And the whole thing was an AI idea. But then it's up to us to execute on that idea to the highest.
And so that's a good segue into the event that you're having in next week. But give me a visual of what it's going to be. The whole Revival Fest.
my
What is it going to be?
So it's an immersive open house experience. And so what we're talking about, so you enter the parking lot, it's already going to be closed, so nobody drives into the parking lot. We have an 8,000 square foot facility, plus the front parking, plus the back area. And you come in, there's going to be axe throwing, mobile milling, chainsaw carving. There's going to be food, wine. Hope Wines is going to be pouring. We're going to have Barrel House beer in there, some cider. And essentially, people are going to get to be in there and network, right? So it's really guided towards architects, designers, builders, design professionals. So we can show them our capabilities, right? But we also have some community members, some governments, some fire officials, and different people. And if you feel like this event is for you, just make sure that RSVP. We need to have an accurate head count. We're already at 280 registrations.
Oh,
so it's
wow.
going to be huge. So that's the outside part. Then you come into the shop and there's different stations. You're going to learn about epoxy pouring. You're going to learn about our cutting process. You're going to be able to actually see these things, epoxy being poured in action. You're going to see how the new concept, it's a concept that we've had for a long time, but we're actually rolling it out this year. Every piece of furniture should have its story contained within it. And so on select pieces of furniture this year, we're going to make sure that as you approach, so for example, let's say I deliver to your home, Randy, your piece of furniture. Then I give you kind of like a box that contains in it the story card of the tree, a map location of where the tree came from, a little leaf from the tree itself. And then you scan a QR code that comes in that box, and that QR code takes you to an edit of the build. So you can actually see everything about your own thing, forever have it captured.
And you do that on every piece?
No, we're going to be doing that on select. So our heirloom line, we're going to
Gotcha.
be doing that. And we're going to offer it. So the idea is roll it out on the heirloom line. And if people want it at different tiers, we can do it as an add-on. But the heirloom line will come with that automatically.
How many people are interested in that?
In just having that,
Yeah.
everybody thinks it's a super
No,
cool
I
concept,
think it's
right?
I think it's a good concept.
I've never heard of anybody and also I've never seen anybody do it yet, right? And honestly, I'm not discouraging. It would be awesome if every piece has something like that, no matter who's making it. But everybody I've talked to, we did one years ago, many years ago, but it's very labor intensive. You know, you have to create all these things. You got to make sure to set cameras at different times of the process. Remind any team member that we need to capture the shots. We need to have editing on the background. You know, it's like, it's not just popping up a video. And in order to do something that's at par with the brand, which is high-end custom furniture, like that piece has to be right. The box that you receive with all these resources has to be at par with that. And so that's why we haven't put it out, because we don't want to do anything that's subpar. But it's coming out.
So again, Deadwood, or I'm sorry, Revival Fest
Yeah.
next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Right? What's the time again?
4 to 8 p.m. So it's on a Thursday because it's more like a work event for people rather than a weekend. But essentially, the idea is that Revival Fest is going to be every year. This is the 2026 version. And the goal of the team is to provide such an experience for people that all we want as a team is when you walk out of there, we want people to feel like, when is the next one? That's it. Like, if you can cause people to leave and ask, when's the next one? I don't want to miss it. Then we've done our job. And we're working hard for that.
Where did you get this concept from?
AI.
Really?
Yeah. The concept itself, you know, open houses, we've done them for different select groups of people. The CCID, Central Coast Interior Designer Group, we've done them for Cal Poly classes, forestry classes, students and professors. So it's not a strange concept to invite people in to see your operation, but the big play of it, so we kind of played with that idea, and to expand on it and what it could be, we use AI, and then we sit with our team and like internalize, be like, knowing what we know, how could this be cooler and better? And then you go back to AI and you say, hey, here's some adjustments we want to make, boom, 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 help me with this part. How do I do this? If we're going to give an award, help me with the layout of the award, help me with the wording of the award. But you have to come up with all of the ideas of, hey, it would be cool to present an award to the College of Architecture, which we'll be doing. And so AI will help me generate the concept for that, but I want to present the award. I know who it's going to be to. I know what I want it to say. It's just going to help me curate it to make sure that it's ready to get laser engraved.
One last question. Do you ever import wood from, like, say, back from your hometown, you know, Puerto Rico or, you know?
No, not yet. I think sometime there'll be, like, as long as it's, the most important thing is the wood wasn't taken out for its monetary value. So the reason that we haven't imported, there's beautiful woods in South America and the islands, right? But we want to make sure that we're not in any way participating or adding to people wanting to take trees out for money. That's not what we want.
Right.
We're taking the trees at the end of their life, right? Everything has a life cycle, and trees also have a life cycle. And so at the end of their life cycle, because of disease, disaster, decay, or development, any of those reasons why a tree would be removed, so there's a storm, bugs got in there, it's just not in the right place, it's now impacting the foundation. It was planted 70 years ago. And so or there's a development going in. For any of those reasons, we'll take the tree. But if it's like, I give you money and you go take out a really good tree for me, that's not our brand. That's not what we do. So it's hard because here I know who I'm getting the tree from. When you start dealing with people to ship you things in, how do I ensure that? And so we haven't gotten in there yet, but I would love to bring wood from my island, from Puerto Rico, here to share, because there's beautiful tropical hardwoods, over 200 of them in Puerto Rico. But right now we're just really focused on strengthening the brand here, local, and using, it's not just city trees, orchards. You know, if you're here in North County, we all know about all the walnut orchards. And what's happening is those walnut orchards are at their end of their life cycle. They all get pushed over. That property gets bought over by a winery and it gets replanted. But all those trees usually get discarded, burned. So we've been able to rescue over 200 walnut trees in the last couple of years. So
Wow.
There's so much wood here, you know?
Yeah, there is a lot. Danny, hey, thanks for coming in. And we're talking about Deadwood Revival Designs. And we've got Revival Fest happening next Thursday, the 15th.
You're going to be there, right?
Absolutely.
4 to 8 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds, you know, I mean, again, the customization of wood, you know, as you see around here, and you walk into anywhere, I mean, wood really is that awe, that wow factor.
Totally.
You know, and
Totally.
somebody that can build stuff out of wood and really craft it into, like you said, a story.
Right.
You know, it tells it. And when you walk into like those old saloons or those old, you know, from the 1800s, you know, places, houses, Victorians, you just go, wow.
Yeah.
You know, It's just amazing.
The wood experience involves all the senses, right? So like I was talking to somebody yesterday and said, you know what I love about a wood shop? Walking in and the smell. To some people it's the smell. To some people it's the touch. To some people it's the visual. So like wood, that's the beautiful thing about it. It really seems to like involve all the senses.
Awesome. Danny, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Once again, tell us where we can find you at.
DeadwoodRevivalDesign.com or Deadwood Revival Design on Instagram, TikTok, all the social media. And if you're interested in joining us at Revival Fest 2026, please go to the link in the description on Facebook or Instagram and RSVP. RSVP will be required. There'll be a check-in. And then we'll see you there, folks. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks
again,
North County.
Thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, there you have it, guys. Hey, you guys want to go out and check out this place here in Paso Robles. January 15th. Next week is the first annual, right? First annual Revival Fest happening in Paso Robles. Make sure you RSVP. But as always, guys, we can't do this without you and our sponsors. We'd like to thank Escalar Wine Travelers Hideaway, Visit Atascadero, 805 Customs, MGP Coatings, Premier Ag, Trailer Barn, Story Termite Pest Control, Borhone Auto Center, Kennedy Club Fitness, Airflow Filter Services, and Templeton Heating and Air. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time. When it comes to comfort, trust the team that's been keeping the North County homes cozy since 1995. At Templeton Heating and Air Conditioning, they're your hometown pros right here in Templeton. From tune-ups to repairs, remodels to new construction, even duct replacements and attic ventilation, they got you covered. Call your neighbors at 805-434-3741. Templeton Heating and Air Conditioning. Local, trusted, dependable.
Hi, I'm Glenn McWilliams.
And I'm Annie. As sixth-generation farmers, we understand what it takes to keep a ranch, a farm, and a community growing strong.
And that's why we started Premier Ag to bring quality feed, trusted Western wear, and real service to the Central Coast.
From hay delivery across the county to hands-on support for local youth and ag programs, we're proud to give back to the community that raised us.
And when we say from seed to stable, we mean it. We've walked the fields, we've fed the animals, and now we're here to serve families just like yours.
Come visit us at 1041 Paso Robles Street in Paso Robles and experience the difference of a store built by farmers for farmers.
From seed to store, where quality meets country.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today, we can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.
Looking for a top quality concrete coating in SLO County? Hi, I'm Matt Gifford with MGP Coatings, your trusted local expert in durable, long-lasting concrete coatings backed by Pentec's limited lifetime warranty. Whether it's residential or commercial, we deliver expert craftsmanship, premium products, and unbeatable customer service. When we say we make concrete great again, we mean it. As a locally owned, community-driven company, we take pride in transforming garages, patios, pool decks, wineries, and even interior spaces into stunning, functional areas. Are you ready to upgrade your space? Give us a call at 805-952-5301. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or visit mattgiffordpainting.com. Join the MGP Coating family today.
What's up, North County? This is Teresa Branch with Airflow Filter Service. We are a family-owned business right here in the North County. We have air filters, oils and lubricants, and hydraulic hoses. We provide services that include air filter cleaning, DPF cleaning, and waste oil collection. Come check us out at 1140 Ramada Drive, and we can help you with all your automotive and industrial vehicle needs.
Atascadero isn't your standard getaway. We're unique, just like you. We're growing, transforming, and figuring it out as we go. We're a town filled with innovators, artists, makers, and game changers. We're a little bit country, a little bit funky, and always authentic. We're here for your good times, your slow times, and your changing times. We're all in Atascadero. Come see for yourself. Learn more at visitatascadero.com.